Okay, hello everyone, and welcome back to Session 2 of Module 1 of the Introduction to Bioinformatics course. In this session, we'll be dealing with the advanced literature searching. So before we begin the lecture, let's have a look at some of the learning objectives. So by the end of the lecture, we hope that you will know which are the best tools to use to search for literature, to understand the logic of constructing advanced search queries, to know which basic search tags to use for generating specific search queries, and therefore be able to conduct more efficient searches using PubMed. By the end of the practical session, we hope that you'll be able to locate and understand the advanced search pages for PubMed, to generate complex search queries using the provided examples, use some of the major search fields or tags to generate specific search queries and results, and then further refine your search results for specific articles. So underlying any sort of research that is done, the first step usually involves doing some sort of literature review. Luckily for us, nowadays, most resources are electronically stored and available online. And there's no need to go into a library to search through books to find the information of relevance. Although this is supposed to make our lives easier, in some instances it can be quite a difficult and frustrating task to locate the information that you're looking for using some of these online resources. And searching for literature can become an overwhelming and challenging task. So while I was preparing for this lecture, I came across quite an apt quote that explains how literature searching can be frustrating and how using the electronic resources online may not always be the most efficient way to do things. So the quote says that Google can bring you back 100,000 answers, but a librarian can bring you back the right one. And I think this underlies the main concepts behind being able to generate and run efficient searches for literature online. Google is based on querying using a search query in order to bring back anything that has any results that have that search query in it. The difference with the librarian is the librarian knows what information is out there, but also knows exactly where to find it and where to find the relevant information. And this is why searching can become quite frustrating if you're using a search tool that is more general and not very specific to the information that you're looking for. So like I said before, Google is probably the first stop for any of you trying to do any sort of literature review. And it's a great resource. I think it's really useful. But your power to use Google, or the power to get back relevant results with Google, is based purely on how well you're able to construct your search query. So in some instances, you get lucky and you're able to generate a very specific or unique search query, and you get back results that are relevant to the information that you're looking for. In other instances, you get back a lot of useless results before you actually find anything interesting. And in some cases, you might not get any relevant results at all, and you end up on page 10 of your search results on Google, and you still frustratingly haven't found the information that you're looking for. So hopefully, what I've done is generated this lecture, or developed this lecture in such a way that you will be able to conduct efficient searches for literature, in particular using PubMed, and it will prevent you from ending up frustrated like this. So before we carry on, I also want to have a look and just give you an overview of some of the other popular literature resources that are available. So in addition to Google, Google has also developed some search engine called Google Scholar, which is specialized for searching for academic literature. And I think it's a great resource, and again, it has an advanced search page which allows you to then generate very specific queries for searching for particular literature. I use this quite extensively, and I would suggest that you also familiarize yourself with using Google Scholar. The second most popular resource is PubMed, and this is the resource that we're going to be looking at in detail. And PubMed is run by NCBI, and it covers a range of biomedical literature, including MEDLINE, and I'll speak to you a bit more about what MEDLINE is later. PubMed also has another specialized literature resource called PubMed Clinical Queries, and this is a specialized PubMed search for searching in particular for clinical data. Other resources that I'm sure some of you have come across, one is called Scopus. which claims to be the largest abstract and citation database of peer-reviewed literature across all scientific domains. And then there's also Science Direct, which is linked to Scopus and the Elsevier group of journals, and you're able to search across a number of journals from all scientific domains. So again, these are more generalized for searching across all scientific domains and not only across biological or bioinformatics literature. So as I said before, for this lecture, we're going to be focusing on how to efficiently search for literature using PubMed. And underlying PubMed is actually a database called MEDLINE. So the US National Library of Medicine, NLM, is the world's largest medical library. And NLM has been indexing biomedical literature since 1897 to help provide easy access to literature. So they started this a long time ago, and obviously it was done manually. So the printed index to these articles or literature was called the Index Medicus. And this was actually what was converted into the database that is now known as MEDLINE. Okay. So since 1996, free access to MEDLINE has been made available to the public via PubMed at NCBI. Okay. So in addition to MEDLINE, PubMed contains citations from additional biomedical journals and books. So in addition to everything that is in MEDLINE, PubMed has also included additional biomedical journals and books from other sources. So in total, PubMed provides access to more than 26 million citations for the biomedical literature. So I've included this this diagram of MEDLINE just to highlight a few points. So like I said before, the NLM is the world's largest medical library, and they produce MEDLINE. MEDLINE is the electronic version of the original index of all these biomedical literature. So MEDLINE is a database resource, a bibliographic database with over 24 million citations. And PubMed provides free access to MEDLINE. Okay. Why I put this slide up is to also mention that there are other vendors who lease MEDLINE from NLM, so it can be searched through their own interfaces. And you might have come across some of these resources before, like EBSCO, Web of Science, Ovid, ProQuest, etc. So these resources also search MEDLINE. They do not contain some of the additional citations that PubMed has included. Okay, and they also, each one of these vendors, have developed their own front end or search engines for searching MEDLINE. Okay, so this is to keep in mind. I'm sure some of you have actually come across these before, but you just know that these vendors or these other vendors are actually also searching the MEDLINE database. Okay, so why use PubMed or MEDLINE over any of the other resources? So there's a couple of good points on why PubMed or MEDLINE should be used. So it is comprehensive, and it is continually kept up to date and current. So the database is continuously updated with new articles and new citations. PubMed or MEDLINE contains literature from credible resources. So you know that anything that you find searching MEDLINE using PubMed is coming from a credible source and a credible journal, and you don't really need to double check and make sure that it is coming from a credible source. What PubMed has done is also developed a controlled vocabulary for indexing and searching. So where this comes in is knowing about how they have developed this controlled vocabulary allows for you to more efficiently search against the MEDLINE database using PubMed. What's also useful is for all articles, there's either an abstract and or full text version provided. And what we'll see is through PubMed, they've developed quite a powerful interface for searching the databases to allow you to get back relevant information rather than having to sift through large amounts of information to get to the results or the literature that you're looking for. So in the next session, we'll start having a look at the advanced search pages that PubMed has developed for searching.